Another clip I wanted to get to, Joe Scarborough and Willie Geist. We're talking about why Bernie Sanders socialism, well, here it says, doesn't play well among a lot of Latinos. And so let's just watch this.
Hi, nothing against Bernie Sanders, but Sanders' brand of socialist policies does not play well among a lot of Latinos. Well, at least in the general election. I know he did well in the Democratic race, but not in general elections, especially in Florida.
There's a reason the Trump campaign continues to push this idea that Joe Biden is merely a vessel for what he calls the radical left, Bernie Sanders, AOC, et cetera, et cetera. And you can see it's getting some traction in the Hispanic community, even if others roll their eyes and say, wait a minute, look at Joe Biden's career over 50 years. He's been a centrist and has been criticized.
And not running on Bernie's policies.
Do they pay attention? I mean, there was a recent poll that I saw from just the end of July where they were still, I forgot who was the pollster, but they were still polling who you prefer, Biden or Bernie. And Biden won with white people and with black people, yet Bernie was still winning with Latinos. He still was a number of percentage points over Biden when it comes to who you prefer. And this is well after the primaries are over, end of July. I mean,
well, a lot of Latinos in Nevada seem to prefer Bernie.
And
right. I mean, if you were
places where they never got a chance to vote as well.
Right. Yeah, of course.
Listen, he does mention Florida. And yes, if you are specifically, only, solely, not also in Florida. No, if you are only specifically talking about, not even all Latinos in Florida, only talking about Cubans in Florida, then yes, they probably don't like Bernie Sanders' policies very much.
Yeah.
But literally everyone else, no, it doesn't work. Sorry, you got wrong talking points, buddy.
This is where maybe class supersedes race in terms of how you might talk about voters, I would say.
Yeah, I was going to say, so like, first of all, Latinos are not a monolith, obviously. Right. And Cuban Americans in Florida are going to vote differently from Mexican Americans in Nevada. And a lot of that does have to do with class. Like you said, a substantial portion of Latino voters are Republicans. So it makes sense that they would vote for the Republican, whether he's running against Joe Biden or Bernie Sanders. However, if you look at the polls, the things that I guess they use the term Hispanic in these polls, the things Hispanic voters care about are pretty much the things that all voters care about, namely jobs, healthcare, the economy. Immigration is on there, but it's not number one. It's not as high as you would think. So for the Latinos who are Democrats, it seems to me that having something to offer in those areas would be the best way to turn them out and get them to vote in November, right? Although this kind of horse race coverage tends to place a lot of attention on swing voters, we know that elections are mostly about turnout, and you got to give people something to turn out for, right? And like the study said that Sam cited yesterday, the two primary motivating factors in the 2018 midterms in terms of turnout among Democrats were hatred of Trump and concern over healthcare, right? So given those facts, maybe it would be good to have a candidate who activates both of those things rather than only one. But what do I know?
I mean, as also another note, like white supremacy, a lot of people seem to not understand that doesn't stop at the Rio Grande. Like I was watching this reality show on Netflix, Hecho in Mexico, and it was all like these sort of like very wealthy Mexican like socialites, and it's basically just for the most part white looking people that speak Spanish. Like that's the main distinction there.
Yeah.
And so of course like it shouldn't be a surprise that a certain number of Latinos are vote Republican, and there's not like a big like sort of ethnic contradiction in their minds.
Yeah. I mean, whiteness is a historically malleable category. And, you know, we could talk all day about the racial dynamics within the Latin diaspora, but there's certainly a stratum of Spanish speaking people who identify more closely with whiteness than with non-whiteness. So, you know, when Trump gets up there and calls Mexicans rapists, guess what? They don't really care.
Yeah.
My relatives are Spanish conquistadors. Here's why I'm not voting for Biden.
Exactly. That was a Joanna Hausman.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Venezuela.